there's enough food and drink for about 150 people tonight. Well, welcome to our town hall. Today's meeting is going to be, I think, a fairly short one since we don't have this huge group. We're going to do some introductions. Then we're going to meet the candidates. We have 3 candidates for 2 positions coming up. And we're going to have ballots going out, I think on the 13th, is that right, Corey?
Yes, next Friday.
Next Friday. And what we'd like you to do is fill them out and send them back in before the 16th of May. May 16th is our next annual meeting, and that's where they'll be actually counting the ballots. After that, we're going to do some community updates. We'll talk briefly about real estate, some financial summaries. Corey's going to come up and talk about some actual community updates, what we've done this year and what we're planning on doing next year. And then we're going to wrap up with Javier is going to talk about some safety reminders. So with that, what I'd like to do first is read our SMA mission statement, which we start off every meeting with. Our mission is to preserve and enhance the quality of life and sense of community through efficient and effective management of the association, maintenance of its common areas, enforcements of its rules and covenants, safety of its residents, and capital improvements that combine to preserve property values and provide the highest benefit and greatest good for the community and its residents. I'd like to introduce some of our board members. That everyone's here except Jim Pieri. He's out for some health reasons. Jim is our president. Gretchen in the back here is our vice president. Gary Cooper is our CFO. Gary's responsible for the increase in your assessments this year. Then we have Jean Hines, she's our secretary. And in the back, Larry Casey is our at-large member. Thank you all. Thank you for your service, guys. We do have 3 entities. I'd like to remind everybody of this every time we have a meeting. You know, the 3 entities are the private Santa Luz Club. They're nice enough to lend us this facility. This is owned by them, as are all the buildings except for the 2 guardhouses. All the other facilities from the ground up are actually club facilities. So it's nice of them to lend us this. Then we have the Santa Luz Community Council. They're the communications arm and events arm of Santa Luz. Now, I think everyone knows that a quarter of 1% of every sale actually feeds into the Santa Luz Community Council, and that Santa Luz Community Council puts on events based on the amount of money that they have. Everybody realizes that sales are down. We only had 37 sales last year. This year, we're going to probably have somewhere between 30 and 35 sales. So we're not getting a lot of money into the Santa Luz Community Council. So we are tapering down on some of their events this year, but I think they're making up for it in lots of other ways. With some of the community and some of the outreaches that they're doing outside the community. Santa Luz Maintenance Association, that's us. We're the rules and regulations group. We're the tough guys. And within that group, we have several other entities. We have the Aesthetics Council, which is the Design Review Committee. They review and approve all plans for anything external within your home, within the community. We have the Standards Committee. They meet tomorrow, I think, don't they? Tomorrow morning. They meet once a month, and they adjudicate all the fines. So if you're getting if you've got a citation, they're going to vote yes, you get fined for it, or you can show up and talk to them about it, if you have something reasonable to talk about. Then we have Emergency Preparedness Committee. We've got several members here. Please. Thank you, guys. I think we have 8 or 9 directors now. I think we may have lost one recently. someone's moving. Anyway, and then we have 32 neighborhood coordinators, and we also have backup coordinators. And we just have lots of folks that are really involved in the community, keeping you safe. Ad hoc committees, we have the Finance and Audit Committee. They go over all the budgets for the year. We go through it in detail, extreme detail. You guys want to raise your hand for that? We have a couple here. And then we have Safety Committee. That's headed up by Alan. I think we've had Safety Committee meetings in the past, and we'll continue to have those in the future. Now I'd like to have each one of the candidates say a few words so that you have a chance to get to meet them. The first candidate is Mike Code. Mike, would you come up?
Do I take the microphone?
You do.
Last time I did that, they were having dinner, so good to see you. So, my name is Mike Code. I've been at San Luis for 19 years. God willing, it'll be another 19 years, so at least. But born and raised in Southern California, did a short stint in Kansas City, so I'm a Chiefs fan, so don't hold that against me. But so I am a former member, a recovering board of directors, participant for probably about 10 years ago, I think, served with Alan and Jack. I don't see Jack here, but and 2 terms there, then termed out. Wasn't voted out, I was termed out. Actually, in talking to Corey and Joe, it kind of dawned on me, hey, you know, they've changed the rules. I'm allowed to run again, so I figured I'd put my name in for another term. While at the last time, we did a number of really interesting projects. I'm not looking to take credit for them because it was certainly a team effort, but Joe had touched upon the property, the homeowners assessment. We were on the board when we actually lowered that. I think it was short-lived, but we did try and lower it. We did a water recycling project. We did the emergency preparedness, that was kind of the early days of that. And then some of the wireless facility, things of that sort. So been involved in a number of different projects, been active in Santa Luis for a while, and like I said, 19 years, and would like to continue to contribute back to the community. I don't really have a platform or agenda that I'm running on. I think the mission statement covered a couple of key items in their property valuation. Sometimes if you know, status quo is a good approach. But certainly I know issues come up, and based on my prior experience, I think I can work with the board on resolving any of the issues that come up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is Jean.
I have to use the,
You don't have to.
thank you. You can probably hear me because I talk loud enough. I stood here 2 years ago and said I hope to bring a fresh perspective to the board, which I felt I did. We've lived in the community 10 years. We've lived in the area 40. And we watched Santa Luz being built, actually. And I found that I really appreciated much more than I realized the number of people that go into making our community work, that we are on the board mere custodians of a much greater idea and mission statement of how to make the community work and how to keep it working at the level that we all appreciate. And I'd like another term to do that. My background is that I am an attorney. I practice part-time. Got kind of rid of, my husband insinuated that I needed to get fewer clients so that I could spend more time with him. So I have done that. And I do real estate and corporate work. And so I feel like I bring in a little bit to the board of a different perspective because I've been doing that for almost 40 years. And so I feel like that I can kind of take a slightly different look. But I appreciate that you've given me the opportunity to see how the community works and contributed to it in this way. So thank you.
Next up was Gretchen.
And you can use a microphone.
I've lived in Santa Luz with my husband since 2003, so we've seen the full growth of the community. I was an active real estate agent up until about 4 years ago, so I worked with a lot of people, helping them sell their homes and buy their homes here. I worked with Warmington, who built the Belcera homes. So I've just seen the growth of Santa Luz, and I just feel privileged to call this my home. I believe it's important to take an active role in the community so that we can maintain our home values and the quality of life that we experience here. And that's why I volunteered to be on the board and to be active in the community. The current board is really a great cohesive board. Every member has just brought so much. So I would like to continue with all the things that we have been doing. It really is teamwork. And so in the past 2 years that I've been on the board, we've done a lot with security measures, making recommendations, approving the extra roving patrol, installing the flock cameras, and those are now connected to the San Diego Police. We have a camera on the garden trail behind my house, and we're looking into other areas where the cameras, might provide more security. We also have been very active working with the EPC to help the residents become more proactive in improving their home security. We had really good news from Javier on our last board meeting. We have fewer speeding violations, so that was good news. So, all the efforts that we've made with fines, have really helped with all the speed controls. There has been discussion though, because there's always a few that just really go way over the speed limit, so we're reviewing what we might do with some fines for some of those people. So there's just always things that the board is actively, trying to do to, again, provide, security to the area and help the residents. One of the challenges right now are the e-bikes. So again, we'll be working on something to try to come up with some sort of a manual to get some, some sort of rules, a program so that, again, it's a safety concern, but it's also the e-bikes going on Center Green, on the golf course, because it could really cause a lot of property damage. So that's going to be a challenge for us. Also, we're looking into design review and seeing what we can do to make that department more cost effective, controlling the costs there. We just finished with the budget, and that is so much work for the financial. Every line item has just gone over. I'm just really proud because I feel like Gary's done a great job, and I know my husband's worked on it. I mean, the financials are just so important, and it definitely is something that the board looks at, making recommendations as far as, what our dues are. And I'm really proud because I feel like we get so much value for our SMA dues. But it's because the board really, and Joe, Corey, they really look at all the different factors that go into, running Santa Luz. It's a big business to run. Just renewed the Spectrum contract. I'm sure Joe will talk about that. Another challenge that we'll have is ADUs. So that's going to be interesting in how we as the community are going to, be able to handle the ADUs. A lot of it's controlled by state law. Joe is going to be meeting, did you meet, or it's coming up with other, tomorrow. Okay, with other people that are on HOA boards to see what they're doing. So again, all these things, it's a growth of the community. So we have to be always, challenged in seeing what we're going to do. So I just would like the opportunity to continue kind of the continuity with me staying on the board and then pursuing some more of these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have to tell you that the board that we have right now, they're fantastic. They work together well as a board. Michael, you've worked together as a board before. I mean, you guys really know what it takes to keep this place running. And I personally, I just really appreciate it. And I think Corey appreciates it, and I think Javier appreciates it. Just a quick update, I mentioned this earlier, that we had 37 homes that closed escrow last year. We've had 6 so far this year. We think we're probably on track to be between 30 and 35 this year, this fiscal year. Our actual number of units are down that were rented. We only have 32 rentals in the community, which is fairly low for our type of community. Our pricing, last year, we had a low of 2.1 million and a high of 9.9 million. So right now we're looking at right around 4.5% roughly as our average for sales price, actual closings for this last year. And we're projecting this next year probably be similar. Some financial information. Just some general information. You know, we are still financially very strong. We still have over $5 million in the bank. We're currently earning, just so everybody knows, we're currently earning in the 4 to 5% range, you know, interest on all that money that we do have in the bank. However, we still do have an increase that we projected for this year, and that's $15 per month per home. That $15 is actually not going to be paid, it's going to go toward our reserves. It's not going to anything other than reserves. That's an annual increase of 2.5%. I think that's fairly low for our communities of our size. That also includes adding an additional security officer, you know, on a regular basis. We just renegotiated the Spectrum contract. That actually is going down in price, $5. And with that contract, we are going to be increasing the speed of the internet. It's going to go up to 500. And then we're going to actually have other additional benefits starting probably the first quarter of next year, which they'll be coming up with. That's a 5-year contract. At the end of 5 years, we're actually going to pay the same as we're paying today. That's how you have to look at it. So today, we're paying the same as what we will be paying in 5 years for that contract. That's the newest, latest contract with Spectrum. We do still have some major challenges. You know, costs keep going up for everything, so we just have to keep an eye on it. For labor, for water, for materials, insurance. We're looking at insurance costs this year is going to go up about 25% is what we're projecting, which is a major number. We're actually, this year we paid off our $2 million number, or nut, for putting in the recycled water program. I think that's really commendable. And, you know, in the future, I think that's just going to really benefit us. The difference in price between potable water, which is $7.43, that's what we pay per 100 cubic feet. We pay $2.27 now for recycled water. That's the difference in cost. It's like roughly 25%. Part of what we did this year also, the reason we went with a $15 increase to go toward the reserves is really for this purpose. As you see if you can see all the yellow here, that was last year. That puts us in the medium range, that puts us in the medium range of being able to cover that in case something happens. And then this green is that's the good sign. That means that you're really about 70% funded and plus in your reserves. This is what we have this year. So that $15 goes into reserves, and instead of reserves going into the green in 2040, it actually goes into the green in 2030. So it's significant for us to get our reserve balance. Assessments, what do they cover? This year, this is what they cover. Water, $50. Trash service is $40. Landscaping is $115. This is per month, per home. Security, security $110. Cable and internet, $61. That's actually $56 is our contract rate. The other is taxes that we also have to pay on top of that. Reserves, again, we've gone up from roughly $87 to $140. And SMA staff is at $57. These are the major numbers that make up that $615 that we're going to be charging this year. With that, I'd like to introduce Corey. Corey's going to take us through some of the updates for this year and next year.
Thank you, Joe. I see a lot of familiar faces in the room, but for those I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Corey Showalter, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Santa Luz Maintenance Association. SMA's fiscal year end is April 30th, so we'd like to highlight some of the projects we've completed this last fiscal year, and then touch on those that we have scheduled for the upcoming 2024-25 fiscal year. For road sealing, we sealed the main thoroughfare from the north gate to the south gate along Caminito Santa Luz. We also did a section of Encinitas over in Unit 9. We completed the replacement of our fiber optic cable system, which connects the golf clubhouse to the hacienda, to all the gates, the dog park, the golf maintenance yard, their infrastructure for communication. We upgraded the lighting at the north gate, south gate, and Delfina, and then we added lighting to the entrances of Plain Air, Montaigne, and Rockview Port, so all of the gates have landscape lighting at the entrances now. We added the flock license plate readers at the gates. We're currently updating the adult exercise equipment at the Caminito Camellia Park. We hope to be done with it by the end of next week. And then we'll also be planting a demonstration garden at that location as well. We re-landscaped all of the Sentinel entries, the Montaigne Gate entrance, and then beginning next Monday, we'll be mulching all of the landscaping around the casitas. So that will be done within a couple of days. And then looking forward, okay. And then looking forward to 2024-25, the scheduled projects that we have for this coming up year is we'll be replacing the play equipment at the Delfina Park and the Caminito Lizanha Park. We'll also be adding swings to the Delfina Park. We plan on updating the guardhouse interiors and updating the security camera systems. We have a major landscape plan that we plan on starting hopefully within the next month or so. From the north gate to the south gate, a lot of that plant material is just at the end of its life. So we'll be doing a lot of replacements, and then we've identified pocket areas that are currently native grasses that we'll be upgrading and planting as well. For the road sealing this year, we have Run of the Knolls and Entrada de Luz East scheduled. We also plan on updating all of the trail lights throughout the community. We have lots of them. So we're currently working on finding a suitable replacement that has the same aesthetic as the ones that we have currently. And then for painting projects, we'll be painting the trellises and all of the sentinels. We have Plain Air gate entrance and the Delphina gate entrance and the adjacent fences, so we'll be repainting those. And then we'll be completing phase 2 and 3 of the rear yard fences in the Lozanha neighborhood that the association is responsible for maintaining. And then most importantly, the coming back, I get this question all the time. So we hope to have them the beginning of summer, like June, end of May, beginning of June. But we've added some acreage, so we hope to keep them here longer. And then we'll also be planning some meet and greets during their time here.
They're such kids.
Thank you, Corey. This is something that was brought up earlier. And this is a real concern of ours, and that's the e-bikes. I think the biggest concern is e-bikes are starting to move into our common areas and golf course areas. They're starting to cause damage. So we have this area. I don't know if I can get this going again. Look beautiful. No,
That was really close.
anyway. There are kids that are going across our field. And they're also going across the golf course. And they're causing damage. So they've actually caused damage at the golf course area, for sure.
Your mic, Joe.
Anyway, e-bikes are a problem for us. I don't know what we're gonna do with them. We're hoping that folks that have kids with them will tell them to please be responsible and drive them like they're supposed to be driven, on the street. Not in our common areas, tearing up the golf course and tearing up all of our green areas. So this is gonna be a real concern of ours right now, and we're just gonna have to continue to ask people to help us. So if you see somebody, say something, let us know. This is a big problem for us. Next up is Javier. I think everyone knows Javier. He's our security director.
Good evening, everybody. I was told to be brief, so I promise I'll keep to 30 or 40 minutes. And I wish I could get as good a reception as the goat did, but I guess not. Yeah, right. So Gretchen touched on speeding. Speeding's down considerably. Just to throw some numbers out there, when we first implemented the traffic cameras, we were looking at 70% of everybody passing through our signs. 70% of those people were speeding. Now we're down to 30%. We're not going to eradicate speeding, but from 70 to 30, that's pretty significant, and we're happy with that. Can't do anything about the recidivists. We just keep going. If they want to keep paying the fines, then it is what it is. So everybody knows, you've seen them. We've done everything we possibly can to draw attention to them so that you know that they're there. Because the point is to get you to slow down, not to find you. Stop signs. So I've had some videos being sent to me by residents in the community, videoing other residents of the community, just simply not stopping at all whatsoever. I get it, California rules, whatever, but it's dangerous. Please try and abide by all traffic laws, posted signs, posted speed limits while driving in the community. If not, your neighbor might just video you and send it to you. Don't think we should have to say this, but dog droppings. People are not picking up after their dogs. It's not nice. I think it'd be common courtesy to pick it up. but it's being left on the street, and residents are complaining. It's very difficult for us to enforce because you're reporting it after the fact, and yes, okay, it is what it is, but who do we go see now? And if you don't say he lives there, then we really can't take any action on it. Dogs on leash. Joe, we've had 2, not this year, but in a year time span, 2 dog attacks. One was on leash, just got too close to somebody else. That dog on the leash attacked somebody. A little girl got bitten on the arm. That dog was also on the leash, but just too close. And dogs off leash attacking other residents' pets and causing significant damage. So please abide by the dog leash rules of the community. When you're out in the common areas, for sure, the dog should always be on a leash and keep a safe distance from other people, because even on the leash, they seem to attack other dogs or other people. Number 5, I was telling Joe earlier, I laugh because when I first got here, I used to kind of pull over and, hey, can you try and walk on the side of the road, or can you use the DG paths? But everybody at Santa Luz just wants to walk right in the middle of the road. 2 abreast, 3 abreast at a time. Sometimes there's the walking group with 10 people and they're all in the middle of the road. There's blind curves around here. And there's a lot of people texting and driving, and there's a lot of people speeding. Luckily, nothing has happened, but please, if you can, move to the side of the road a little bit. Don't walk right down the middle. Some point or another, somebody's going to get hit. Wildlife, it's getting warmer. We didn't have any snakes for a while, but the rattlesnakes are coming up. We've had probably 4 or 5 snake removals in the last couple of weeks, so be aware of that. And as always, coyotes, bobcats, everybody who's been here for a while understands that there's a large wildlife component to living in Santa Luz, and generally it's okay. It doesn't really result in any major issues. We did have a snake bite a couple years ago, but everything was fine with that. Number 7 up there, secure your homes. It's a big one, right? We're right on the heels of December of last year where we had the last burglaries. Again, one of the houses was unlocked. Both of them were had alarms that went unarmed. So please, simple steps. Keep your doors locked. Keep your windows locked. If you have an alarm system, use it. If you don't have an alarm system, consider getting one. If you don't have cameras, consider getting those. But use the tools that are at your disposal to try and secure your homes. We're doing everything we possibly can to make it safer, to keep these threats away. However, we're not going to eradicate crime. We're not going to eradicate burglaries because it's just not possible. It's going to happen. Automobiles as well. Don't leave them open. Don't leave your keys in it. This is, the 4th Townhall. I always love to tell the story of the Porsche with the keys in it. They tried to steal it. The keys were in it. Why didn't he get away? Because he centered himself on the address rock and left the car there, kind of teetering. But the keys were in the Porsche, in the driveway. You got tons of contractors, service people, vendors. They happen to see, there's a car here, a Porsche with the keys in it. They might just come back, might just use the pass that they got issued earlier that day and come get your Porsche. So, and just remember, as always, if you see anything that needs to be reported, please call the North Gate. Please report it as soon as possible. If it's a crime in progress, a fire in progress, if it's an actual emergency, call 911 first, then call security. Does anybody have any questions? All right. It was like 5 minutes already. Thank you.
That is the quickest you've ever talked.
Long-winded, I know.
Does anyone have any questions? We're happy to answer any questions you have.
Joe, are we doing anything with solar
What do you mean?
in terms of reducing electric costs and usage, and putting solar on buildings here?
The club is. The club is definitely. We're not doing anything. Our bill annually is really for the 2 guardhouses, and almost all of our lighting is all LED at this point. So our bill's really low for such a large facility.
I'm looking more at the whole.
The whole thing, they have a contract already. I think it's going through the process to do all of the club areas because that's the major one. I don't know exactly when that's gonna happen. I know that, I believe the contract was gonna be given out to Baker, I think, right? I think Baker. I'm not sure exactly where it's at. I knew they were going through the planning stage. Most of the equipment, as I understand it, is gonna be down, by the golf maintenance facility, in those surrounding areas. It's gonna be located, not throughout the community, but some central location. But for us, it's, we just don't have that much in the way of a solar requirement at this point.
Any benefit to expanding the reusable water?
I don't think so. I mean, the areas that you'd have to go to for the recycled water costs so much to put the infrastructure in and to modify it that I just don't think it's worth that. I think, we're at 65 to 70% now, all recycled water.
Yeah.
The areas that aren't recycled at this point are not huge bills. But we're looking at, right now, our budget's $500,000 a year, for recycled water. We haven't had to use it though for the last 3 months.
That's right.
So on the e-bikes, if you receive a complaint, and I'll go back to the photo that you showed, are your security officers going out to try to, kind of wrangle them in? And if so,
Yeah, let me
then
tell-
what's the next step?
The kids, that first slide, we actually talked to friends of those kids. And I think we have made them aware that, it's a problem. We'll go after them. We actually followed kids out of the community recently that they got away from us, but we
So
definitely.
were they not kids that lived in the community?
They were
Or
not.
that's at least what you're-
There were friends of kids in the community.
It's not just kids, there were 2 adults.
Was there? Yeah. Somebody's on a little go-kart too, a couple kids on go-karts that we also try to stop.
So what is the protocol if you catch someone or you, what do you?
Protocols call Northgate.
No. I mean, I know if we see them, that's our protocol, but if you got your security officers find someone or catch someone, what do they do?
Generally, we'll talk to parents to try to get the situation corrected.
So
We
no
don't
fines,
arrest-
there's
we don't
no
arrest.
fines or anything in place at this point?
Is there any thought of fines?
I guess we can.
I think this only concern.
Yeah.
If they cause damage, the residents
Well, I
are
think that's the big-
responsible
right.
for damage, so, yeah, we talked about it at the last board meeting, we're definitely going to put something together because it is serious, and, the residents
I'm worried
have to
about somebody getting
understand.
hurt, not only damage to property, but
Yeah.
somebody actually getting hurt.
Right.
That's as much of a concern.
One of the issues was we have to worry about chasing them. If we chase them from one place, they may go on to like a golf course or go on one of the holes or whatever.
They
We
run
have to be
away.
really careful
Yeah.
if we start to chase them, we may cause them to cause more damage by where they go. So
Or they get hurt and then,
They get hurt.
you know,
It's a real fine line.
we need to do that.
Is the security have the opportunity or at least the right to pull these kids over? I see 3 kids on one bike, 2 with one with a helmet, 2 without. And if they fall and they want to get litigious, does the security have the opportunity and the right to pull them over?
They do.
Do they?
Yes.
If they stop.
If they stop.
Yeah.
Because then if they don't stop, we have to be
We're-
as safe as possible in trying to get them to stop. And
Yeah.
it's just not worth pursuing them.
Yeah. You don't want to have kids hurt
Understand.
as a result either. There's a fine line. They really walk a fine line always.
Are e-bikes required to be licensed?
No.
No,
So,
it's not by the state, not by anybody.
First we had golf carts, so we went through all of it, and now you hardly ever see kids on the golf carts. It's now
That's because they're on the bikes.
on the e-bikes. So going from one thing, I don't think it's as bad here. My son lives in Carlsbad. It is a nightmare. And if you go to Carlsbad a lot, the way they have blocked all the roads with these wide green, I'm so confused driving. I don't know what lane they're going. But the e-bikes there, they've had several fatalities. It's just out of control.
Yeah.
What's the status of the community composting?
So what?
The greenways.
Oh.
Yeah, the greenways.
You can compost right now.
But you mean in your own yard? And I thought the community was going to do something.
No, the only thing that we have is that you can put your food waste and things like that in your green can.
But if you don't
And-
have we'll be coordinating with Republic this month and delivering small green waste containers to casitas and sentinels, because most of those homeowners don't have them.
Okay, yeah.
So if you don't have a green waste, you'll be receiving the containers, and that is scheduled for
Thank
April.
you, right, yeah, we're in Sentinels.
Yeah, you'll receive one. But if you already have a green container, you can put your compost in with the green waste.
Oh, sorry. So we do have two parts of our community that are getting them. Go ahead.
I tend to have a positive attitude. And on Republic, we went through the strike. My trash would get picked up 3 times a day up till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. This morning, all 3 cans were done by like 8:30. They just so much earlier. Back to the
Is that good or bad?
they're off the street. I brought both my in and out. And I'm like, oh. Back to the utilities. I've wondered about this for a long time. You just showed us the map. I don't understand how you do the spectrum thing. I mean, my compliments to all of you, but when that spectrum went from $250 a month, roughly, we have everything. We have HBO, we have Showtime, we've got high def, we have everything. It's $53, and now you're saying our assessment per homeowner per month is $61. That's what, 110. How did you do that? How do we have spectrum as good as we do? My daughter cut her cord 5 years ago. I know what other people pay. People pay $250, $300.
I pay $323 for the same service at my house.
How did you do that? You just renewed it again?
Yeah, they have a bulk service agreement. We did that from the very beginning. You know, they really, the nice thing is people don't realize what speeds are gonna be happening next year.
At 500?
You know, right now, 500, but it's gonna be 500 up and 500 back. It's gonna be unbelievable speed. And, you know, they're really moving, they're gonna be moving toward new equipment. That equipment's gonna all be wireless. You know, they're moving in a whole different direction. There is, just so everyone knows, you know, there's been the FCC right now is trying to eliminate projects like ours that have bulk service agreements so that everybody can have to pay $300 instead of $60. So that there's going to be a whole thing in Congress coming up. You'll start seeing that. There's going to be a movement in Congress to try to eliminate services like we are provided now so that people can get, I think, ripped off. So I think what we have now is just unbelievable. Any other questions?
Yes, we do.
Well, with that, please enjoy some refreshments in the back.
Desert.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.